Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Operation Miss podcast. We are back at it again with a new episode talking about a different way that we can tackle this maternal health crisis. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jessica. How are you today, Catherine?
I am doing great. So excited.
Okay, and we have a guest today, and her name is Thompson, and I'm going to let Catherine introduce her to you guys.
Oh my goodness. I get the honor. I am so excited. So, fell in love with this beautiful woman a couple of months ago, and she is not only a labor doula, but also a massage therapist that is certified in working with women during pregnancy and afterwards. And as much as women love massages, like we wonder why. Why is this not on our gift registry? You know what I mean? Like, why is it not included in our postpartum package? And so we are so delighted to talk with you because we know that you have really, really impacted a lot of women's lives. And so we're just honored to have you on. So please, you continue with the introduction. We want to know everything about you. Let everyone know everything about you so that they can get an idea of who is going to be pouring into us on this episode.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, to the both of you. And I am so excited about being here. Like I said, when Catherine, I think I saw her post somewhere with the different public health specialists that I'm friends with. And when I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, like Operation Miss, that sounds amazing. Like I have to find out more about this. And then I reached out to her and she was so sweet. And ever since then, I just love her. She's always it's been so helpful and is so interested in the work that I do. So my name is Thompson. And I am a massage therapist. And like she said, I specialize in pregnancy and postpartum. So I was certified in pregnancy and postpartum on top of my massage license. I'm also a doula, certified labor doula, thank you, and a childbirth educator. So I have been, working with, working with pregnant women since I want to say about 2007. I've been working with pregnancy, specializing in that. I've worked at a hospital here in the Atlanta area. A lot of people may have known it's a very big hospital. They call it like the baby factory. So I was there for about 13 years teaching at that hospital, just trying to make a difference. I have 3 children, but my children are older. So I have a 28-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 20-year-old. Yeah. And I also have 2 grandchildren, and 6-year-old grandson and a 3-year-old granddaughter. And I've been blessed to attend both of their births. So I am so excited about that, and just sharing and, for family members to accept what I do and to listen to it. Because, you have those family members like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, until, of course, something happens. I'm like, okay, well, what do you got? Can you help me out? But, before then, it's like, yeah, okay, they don't want to listen to you. So I am so thankful that I was there for the birth of both of my grandchildren.
Wow. You are a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's such a blessing because I do remember when we first met you and Jessica had made an amazing post and then connected us. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love too. But it's really neat to know too that you have 3 children of your own. So before we jump into our conversation about what you do, how were your experiences giving birth?
So let's see. The first one was interesting. I suffered with irregularities in my cycles for years. So I actually was 5 months pregnant and didn't know it. Yes, I didn't know because my cycles were always off and I did not grow like I was. Yeah. So when I found out, yes, because actually when I was 17 years old, when I went to a doctor, they told me that I couldn't have kids. So I had cancer and cervix, some things going on. But, at that age, I'm like, okay, well, just, listen to a doctor and then, not following up on it. But lo and behold, God had a different plan. Okay. So at 22, yes, at 22, I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, so excited. So, when I found out, it was like, okay, wait, we have to do everything by the book now. I was drinking out of a measuring cup. Like, I have to measure how much water I drink. I have to measure how much milk I drink. It was like the craziest thing. And because I was like, okay, it's been 5 months and I haven't done anything. Like, what's going to happen? What about, eating horribly and just going out doing everything, it's like, what's going on with this baby inside there? So again, like I said, he had a different plan for me. My baby was born healthy. I was fine throughout my whole pregnancy. Okay, for the rest of the pregnancy. Didn't feel anything, didn't have any complications. And one night, like I felt something and I was like, what is that? That's different. I went to sleep. I woke up and I want to say about 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, okay, well, something is happening. Like, yeah, this is different. Like, we need to go to the hospital. And I must say that I didn't take any childbirth classes. I didn't know anything about a doula. I didn't know all the things that I know now. I did not have any of that information at the time.
Yeah.
So we went to the hospital about 7. My mother took me to the hospital about 7 a.m. And then they were like, no, I woke up about 7. We went to the hospital about 10. And then they sent me home. They were like, no, go home. And I'm like, okay, well, now what? Like I said, I was not educated on doing it. So my thing was, for one, I got to be up, like, because laying down wasn't comfortable for me. Oh, and sorry, a backstory. When I was 16 years old, I had a neighbor that braided my hair. Mm-hmm. And she used to tell me stories, and she had children. And I remember sitting outside and she was like, oh, it looks like it's going to rain. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's sunny outside. What are you talking about? She said, there's a spot on my back where I got my epidural. And every time it rains, I can tell when it's going to rain. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Mind you, her child was about 4 years old. Okay. So I'm like, that just doesn't sound right. So that stuck with me. That was my childbirth education. Okay. That was the extent of my childbirth education. So that stuck with me. So when I was, in labor, my thought was, okay, I'm not getting that epidural. So whatever you have to do, you will not be getting that epidural. So they sent me home. And then I remember saying, like, it's not comfortable to lay down. So I was just up and moving, again, just going about my day, not knowing that, hello, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is normal. Like, this is what, is supposed to happen. Yes. So again, I just thank God for everything that he's done for me, because he was my childbirth educator. He was my doula. Mm-hmm. He was everything for me during that time. I went back to the hospital about 6 o'clock and I went into the room and they said, why'd you wait so long? And they took me into the other room, and my daughter was born at 6:44. So yes.
Oh, yes. Wait, Jessica, aren't you amazed at what can happen when you just listen to your body?
Yes. I mean, we love that. We always encourage folks, if you can't labor at home until, you reach that phase where, okay, it's time for you to go in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
yes.
If you went too early, you had to stay, you don't know what could have happened. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, exactly. Because like I said, I didn't know anything. I probably would have let them do anything, because my thing was listening to the doctors. I knew one thing: I didn't want that epidural. So, but that was it. I didn't know how it was going to happen or what we were going to do, but I did not want that epidural, because my thing was, and mentally, I kept saying, this is one day. This is one day, because she kept saying, 4 years later, she can tell when it rains. Like, that doesn't sound right. That's not normal. So I was like, okay, this is one day. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. And we did. Yeah. So that was my first. And, after that, when because, you hear so many stories about different women and having problems or, all these things. So after that, I'm like, well, okay, if it was that easy the first time, let's do this again. So the second time wasn't as easy. I went in, and then I remember, don't get mad at me, but I didn't take any education in it either, okay? But then, and I figured, hey, if I did it the first time, I don't need anything now. So I went into the hospital, and I remember the nurses saying, get up and walk. And I'm like, why would they do that to me? Why would they tell me to get up and walk? I was so hurt. I'm like, she's so mean. Why would she tell me to get out of the bed and walk? Not knowing. And so, like I said, my journey of my pregnancies and my labor have been a blessing, because, I was there. I was in New York City. And I'm so thankful that the staff that was there cared about me, and cared about, the things that's supposed to happen. and telling me to get up and walk or go home, or because like you said, they could have kept me there. Okay. Mm-hmm. And like this other lady, she could have just said, okay, we'll lay in the bed, we'll strap you up, and then one thing would have led to the other.
Yes.
So
like it does so often.
Yes. So often. And can you talk to the stats in New York? Just what about the childbirth outcomes and things up in New York?
Haven't been on top of them lately. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure about New York right now. I know they're better than Georgia, currently in Georgia right now. So I know they're better than Georgia.
New York is bad too. But
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And with the pandemic, the sad thing was when they weren't allowing anyone in with the moms. So that really, really hurt me, for everything that was going on. So it's bad, but Georgia is a little worse, okay?
I know.
Especially for, women of color. So
yeah. Well, I'm happy you had a good experience up there.
Yes, thank you. And like I said, it depends. And a lot of times, as far as like you mentioned the stats, when I teach the classes, I always tell them to look up the stats themselves, to follow and to see. And I teach in the US, so it's not just, in Georgia or, local surrounding areas. So I always tell them to look it up themselves, but not only just look up the hospital stats, I want you to look up your provider stats, because like I said, that thankfully, the practice that I was with, or when I went in, they were helpful, and they, allowed me to labor and do different things and move around and go home. Whereas some providers like, no, we're going to keep her there. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then they start being aggressive with certain things. So you not only want to know the hospital, because there's so many different providers within the hospital system. So that can, make a difference in the hospital system itself. So you want to know your provider stats as well.
Thank you.
That is so good, because especially as Black women, we will research all night long for the right hairstylist.
Hello.
Let's talk about it. But when it comes down to our birthing providers, and not just, your OB or your midwife, your doula, your pelvic PT, your whatever, your lactation consultant, you should shop around. Yeah. You really should.
And like, Catherine had mentioned earlier, it was like, sorry, Dr. Catherine, like she mentioned earlier, it was, these things should be on your registry. It should be in your baby shower. Like, instead of asking, like you said, 1,001 onesies, you don't need all those onesies. You don't need all those receiving blankets. All those toys or something that you think they're going to be in, they're in it for like a month or two, if they even get in it. Like, you should ask for a doula, have money towards your doula, have money towards childbirth education, have money toward, different things like that will be helpful for you throughout your pregnancy and your labor and your birth. And postpartum, because, doulas, we also see them postpartum. So that's important as well. A lot of times, and and that's why, like she mentioned, that tuck-in service that I offer. That's why I started that, because I had so many women coming to me, in their postpartum for massages, and I hear the stories of certain things, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, this is so important. And with the doulas, most of them, they all should be. So most of them, as a labor doula, should have that postpartum visit. If it's 1 visit, 2 visits, 3 visits, whatever it is, because everyone is different, they should have a postpartum visit as well. Somebody just checking in on mom, checking in, just to see how they're doing. Because, so much information and emphasis put on the pregnancy and the labor and the birth. And then it's like we dropped the ball on postpartum.
Yeah. Yes, it's so good. And you segued perfectly into this tuck-in program. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about not just the benefits of that program, but about having a massage therapist on board before and after delivery?
Okay. So with a massage therapist, for one, like I said, I'm certified in prenatal and postpartum. So for one, you want to look for someone that's either certified in prenatal or postpartum, or someone that has some training, some education, some information, some experience. Because let's see, I did my training in New York. I did over like 1,500 hours in the massage program. And I want to say we did an hour and a half, 2 hours for pregnancy. Oh. Like, there is no information, no training for the pregnancy itself, for that specific, service. It's added in there as maybe like, a modality or something that they throw in here. You have this, you have that, and different things that they, explain to you. But that's it. So when people come out of school and they're licensed, yes, they are licensed to massage everyone, but do you want them? Okay. Like you have certain doctors, a doctor, yes, because they're a medical doctor, they can see everyone, but do you want like a, just a doctor that specializes in something else seeing you for a certain thing?
No, you're right. And let me just pause there, because I love that you said that. If you look at that percentage, it's like 0% of the time that you're in school, you're learning about pregnancy and postpartum. That if we did the math, that's what it would be. So we would not want, just like in the medical industry, they don't let family care doctors or family practitioners deliver babies. The OBGYNs deliver babies because they have more practice or more experience, more education in it. Same thing with a midwife. Midwives have more education in it. And so just because people as lay people, we don't think about, massage therapists as needing that certification, that doesn't mean that additional education is not needed. So I am so happy that you brought that up, because a lot of women will go for quote unquote prenatal massages, or, and not really realizing that the person who is massaging them may not have the additional knowledge that you have. So yes, please talk to us about what that certification looks like too, but jump back in because we just want to clarify.
So it's funny that how I got my certification in prenatal. So I worked at a spa when I first moved down to Georgia. And I had a client come in. I was a pregnancy client. She came in and, I was new to massage, a couple of years, but again, did not have any prenatal training. So this client was on my table. I was so scared to touch this woman. It was like, and I'm doing the massage and I'm like, okay, but I work here at the spa, so I got to see these people. So I'm like, okay. And I'm massaging this woman. And then, the massage was over and I go out. And afterwards, my manager called me into the office and was like, okay, Tara, well, I just wanted to tell you that, you had a complaint, she complained about, the service was bad, and she said you didn't want to touch your feet and the pressure was, and all these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and being a massage therapist, and I'm good at what I do, so, and then to hear that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is horrible. Like, so that is where, I kind of was looking into more like, okay, I have to get better at this, and seeing, like I said, seeing different people and working here. And if I'm going to see any, I want to be better at this. And then I was introduced to a friend. Well, actually, it was a client that came in. We're good friends now, but she was working at the hospital that I spoke on, and she was leaving that position. So she asked me to fill in for that position. And that was for infant massage, but it was also teaching pregnancy. I was certified in infant massage in New York also. So, and it was teaching pregnancy to husbands, like to partners, to teach how to massage their, the birthing person through their pregnancy and labor. So I was like, okay. And then I learned that information, and that's what led me to go get certified in prenatal and other things like that. So, it was extra courses. And since then, I've become like a doula, labor doula, and trained in postpartum as well. I'm certified in fertility, and just anything that you can think of that's pregnancy related, I basically have done that. Again, just getting that information and I want to thank, I can't remember what her name was. I should remember what her name was, the one that complained, but I want to thank her because she actually put me on this journey, from her complaining because I didn't know the difference. And like I said, clients come in, they don't know the difference, and they think that anybody can just see anybody, but I'm a testament, that no, you're not supposed to see anyone. I want you to see. And that's why when I have clients come in now and they're like, oh, I went to this place and had a massage and it was horrible. And I'm like, oh, I know how you feel. And I'm so sorry. Like, I was one of them that did that to you. So I'm apologizing for all those out there. But I also would like to educate people and let them know, like, there is a difference. You want to go somebody that's certified and just have that education and that knowledge, because I thought, oh, you're not supposed to touch their feet because they're pregnant. And that was like, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's horrible. Like, oh my gosh, like their feet, like, especially if they're swollen or something, that's just like torture, not touching a pregnant woman's feet. Okay. And you learn in school, like certain points you got to stay away from and different things like that. but you're not pressing those points when you're just massaging over. If that was the case, we would have lines out of our door from OBs in different places, sending them in, talking about, please put them in labor, if it's that easy. It is not that easy. When you were showering, putting on lotion, you would be stimulating and putting yourself in labor. So it's really not that easy. So I love to educate. So one of the things during my massage, I also educate them, just to help them. So a lot of times, and it depends. If somebody wants to talk, I'm going to talk. You ask me questions, I'm going to talk to you. But of course, if they're quiet, I'm going to be quiet also. So I let the client lead to see what they want. And some people, that's how they relax. They talk and they ask questions. That's relaxing to them. And some people just want to sleep. I've had several people sleeping on my table. Several people, waking themselves up from snoring, like, oh, was that me? Like, yeah, I'm awake. That was you. So,
How beautiful.
Yes.
When you learn from complaints, it says a lot about you, just about your character and about your commitment to your craft. And it's really, really sweet to hear, because with Operation Miss, we're learning every single day ways that we can improve our service to moms. And so that's why we love connecting with people where our spirits connect, like we do with you, but also just to know that the genesis of your journey was out of a complaint. Yeah. And that really, some people would be like, oh, she shouldn't have complained on me. Why didn't she say something about, and that is what you are doing, what you have done is a sign that you really love the population you're serving. So thank you for that.
Yes, I do. I really do. Like I said, my kid's like, so when are you going to retire? When are you going to, I'm like, no time soon. And I said, even if I do, because I don't do massage as much as I used to, again, because of other things like the tuck-in services and, teaching, but I still love it. I still am going to do it. I still, no matter what, I still want to touch and help and, educate, because it really makes a difference. It really does make a difference.
Can you talk a little bit tuck-in program, like the benefits of it for like women who...
So sorry, I didn't hear the last part of the question, but I know you were asking about the tuck-in services. So
my service is bad. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, I'll get this part out. Can you tell a little bit more about the tuck-in service for those who may be
interested in hiring you?
Okay. Thank you. So yes, the tuck-in service, like I said, that was created, or that was birthed out of, clients coming in postpartum, and, just me having conversations. And I'm like, okay, so, what did you love? They always want to tell you your birth stories, and I always want to hear them. So those are always amazing. And I'm like, or they may say one thing that I didn't like, or one thing that I wish that I had. And that's where that came from, because I had so many clients saying, I wish that, someone would have told me about, once I go home, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. So, there's some sort of disconnect, because, when women go in and they have a baby, there's a lot going on, physically, emotionally, mentally, hormonally, it's a lot going on. So with you trying to give them all this information or send them home with this book, I want you to take this book home and then I want you to read it. Who's going to read a book after they just had a baby, and going home? And that's what they're giving you, a discharge. Like, here you go. Here's your postpartum thing, and just read this book. And I'm like, no. So that's where, that service came from, or was created from, that transition from the hospital to home. So I sort of meet them at their home, when they're being discharged. So it's that day, it could be an hour or two. If you want to get settled, that's fine. Or up until that night. Some people do it in the next day, but up until that night. And that's why I kind of coined it the tuck-in service, because I'm basically helping to tuck them in. So I'm helping them at home to get comfortable, finding positions that's comfortable if they've had a cesarean, and if they live on 2 floors, you want to make sure that they're on one level. They're not walking up and down stairs. We're setting them up on one level, this way. People are going to be there to help bring them food, to help as far as your diapering, because you shouldn't be lifting anything heavier than your baby. So making sure that you have your little caddy next to you and everything that you need in your caddy, especially your water, because that's important. A lot of people focus on that water in pregnancy and labor and birth, but then postpartum, that's really important during postpartum as well. Because you're losing a lot of fluid still, especially when you're nursing. Making sure somebody is there as far as a partner or somebody's coming in to checking up on you. I always make sure that they have a thermometer, and they have access to a blood pressure cup also, because I want them checking their temperature, checking their blood pressure to make sure, because a lot of times, women may think that, oh yeah, well, this is normal because I just had a baby. When it's not normal, just because you just had a baby. Some things may go on, but a lot of things, they kind of dismiss, and they're focusing more on the baby. Or even people coming in, people are asking, hey, how's the baby? Calling, how's that baby doing? Can I see that baby? And it's like, yeah, I'm here too. I'm good. Can anybody check on me? Nobody's checking in on the mom. So again, tucking them in, making sure they're comfortable, and giving them, the information that may have been in that book that they did not look at, and they probably won't look at, but kind of pointing out certain things to them. I want you to take note of this. I want you to take note of that. Even when their partner is there, like telling their partner, I want you to watch her, look at her and see her. Like if you notice her lips are getting pale, her face is getting pale, her lips are looking dry, her eyes are sunken in, different things like that, where they can kind of pay attention to where they may have not have paid attention to before.
Wow. And so can you tell us, for people listening, why the blood pressure cuff and why the thermometer?
So with their temperature, again, they want to make sure that the temperature is not being raised, especially with nursing. It could be like mastitis or leading into that, some sort of infection going on with the temperature. So you want to make sure that, they're taking their temperature to see if anything is going on. The blood pressure cuff also, some people may not even notice, oh, I have a headache. But I've had a headache for the past 3 days, and I didn't realize it's been 3 days that I've had this headache, so it could be your blood pressure is raised. So different things like that. And that's what I said, like certain signs or different things that come up, you want to make note of it. And even just taking it just in case, just to be preventative, just to make sure, or before anything happens, because a lot of people think of preeclampsia, during the pregnancy, but it can also occur postpartum. So you want to make sure that you are watching these things as well.
They are so lucky to have you in their homes, whoever chooses. Seriously, it is that transition from hospital to home where we see the most, just the most anxiety. And, it's like because you're in the hospital, they're providing you with so much support at that time. You feel like, oh, okay, they make you feel like you're ready to go. But we had a mom the other day, and she's like, is this watch broken? It's not registering sleep. She was like, getting no sleep.
Oh,
and
no.
Got to, and it's hard to get sleep, but it's also sometimes hard to get into a good position to sleep. And it's nice to have somebody who is physically there to help you. And she has support. She has a lot of support, but it's just hard when you go home. And just having somebody to help smooth that transition is really, really good, because we think pregnancy is hard, but it's like the marathon after the pregnancy, because now you take care of you take care of your baby, you got other kids to take care of. It can be really overwhelming. And so I just love what you do. Now with the massage, how soon can someone have a massage after delivery?
So as long as no medical problems, injury, surgeries, complications, they can have it the next day. I've had people call me up to the hospital. So I'm like, I just had a baby. Can you come and help me out, please? Because you have to remember what the process of labor itself and what the body is going through. You are using all of your muscles. Okay, that's a lot of work on the body. So you're physically taxing, on everything that's happening. So again, you're just drained. So the massage can kind of help. If you're having swelling or different things like that, we can do a lymphatic massage that can help reduce some of the swelling, and focusing on certain areas. And again, that's where we're watching also. And that's when we're pointing out during the tuck-in service. You want to watch for the swelling, feeling if you feel heat, anything like that, different things like that. And we can feel that during the massage also. But if it's vaginal, it can be the day after, not a problem. And that's another thing. I offer home visits also. And that's one of the reasons, because I've also, worked at different places, and, they've called and like, oh, well, when can I come in and get a massage? And I'm like, well, you can come in the day after, but you have to remember now, you have to remember the drive. So if you're nursing, say you're nursing every 2 hours, okay, and you're thinking, oh, it's a massage for an hour, but how long did it take you to get there? How long is it going to take you to get home? And then the massage is going to be an hour. So you have to add in all that time, okay, because that makes a difference also. It's not just that, oh, the massage is an hour. Unless you're walking next door or something and you can be in and out, then you want to, again, calculate all that time in there as well, or thinking about different things.
I love that. I remember after I had my son, I really wanted a massage. So my husband came to the massage parlor with me. I breastfed my baby, went in and got my massage, came back out and breastfed my baby again. But it's things that you may not think about that are really, really important. And then at that time, honestly, one of the things that we're noticing too is that women's stress, it's just like we want their stress to be going down, obviously, after the pregnancy. So there are certain things that we expect to see. And one of them is a decline in their stress. But if it's a mom that ends up having to go to and from appointments, or they're going to, they're already checking on their baby and now they're going out getting massages or going out and getting groceries, their stress is just creeping up higher and higher and higher. So where they could have the benefit from a massage therapist, and like there is benefit to that, it would be better if the therapist could come to them so that stress of getting up, getting dressed, getting in the car to drive, and doing all of that is not happening as well. Not to mention all the bleeding that they can sometimes be going on a couple of days after you deliver. So we are all about those home visits, home massages, home therapists, because Dr. Thompson has a pelvic health PT business where she goes out and sees moms in their homes on a regular basis, because we know that we need to be going to them just like other countries cater to their women, to their moms. The United States needs to be doing the same thing.
Oh my goodness. Yes. That's definitely, like you said, other countries. It's sad how much we do not do, for our women. It's really sad, the things that are not offered here, and unfortunately, I have to charge. I have to eat, so I have to charge on what I do. Although I do love doing it, I have to charge. This is my profession. This is my business, this is my livelihood. But there's so many other countries that it's like a part of it. Everything is included. They're not paying for these services. I had a woman from Germany one time and she was like, oh, wait, I have to pay you? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. Fortunately, you do. Yeah. She was like, this is just, part of my prenatal, because I was actually in an OB's office. So she was thinking, everything was like included in there. And I'm like, no, yeah, there's a fee for this service, but she paid and she came weekly for it, different things. She said, because this is what we get. This is how, we're treated. This was, I believe, like her 4th child, and she had the other 3 over there. So this is the care that she received for the other 3. So she wanted to continue with that because she knew the benefits of it. So yeah, so that's a whole nother thing about country. That could be a whole nother podcast about other countries and what they offer and what we do not, and how we need to up our game here. So,
yeah. But what you said about having to pay for it, what I love is that she did pay for it, because we'll pay for a good meal. So if we're paying for a good meal and maybe it's a couple of us out, might be $50, $100. So can we not cut a little bit of that out to get the stuff that we really need for our bodies? So I think it's about prioritizing for a lot of women, just deciding that I am going to invest in myself, because we have had women who, they're told, you're doing the most. Why are you hiring all these people? Why do you have all these people on your team? And it's like, why not? I mean, we were made to give birth. We were designed to give birth. And so all of the things that are really thrown at us sometimes, like the epidural, like the things that, are meant to progress labor because you're stalled, is really just, those are hospital bills that are accumulating and you don't even realize it. And so in order to prevent all of those interventions from happening, why not just take care of yourself? Hire the doula, hire the chiropractor, hire the massage therapist, hire the pelvic floor physical therapist, and get some of that stuff on the front end so that you're not paying on the back end. Because a preterm delivery, stay in the NICU, like all of that stuff adds up from a cost perspective. So investing on the front end can save you a lot of issues on the back end. Not to mention like what we see, Jessica, right, where they're 40, 50 years old, now they're leaking urine, they're getting these procedures done. It costs to not invest in yourself as a woman.
Yeah, and being proactive. That's one of the things that you want to do, preventative. that's the biggest thing too. A lot of people, like you said, they don't invest in it or until something happens. Then they want to put like, oh, I need to do this. I need to. But I had, so many women come in that, nothing's wrong with me. I'm fine. It's just a preventative measure. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's good to hear. And I tell them, they're like, something wrong. I'm like, no, don't make something up. Don't make things happen. It's okay for nothing to be going on. That is okay. Don't think that you have to have something going on. But again, just being here preventative, just to make sure, that nothing goes on. Just doing as much as you can for that. And like, I love that you mentioned, the whole team, because it takes a village. It's going to be more than just one person. I wouldn't just say, oh, just come and get a massage and then your pregnancy will be fine. No, I always recommend like pelvic floor specialists, chiropractors, lactation, even with pregnancy, you want to have all this information and this whole team around you, doulas. So I'm not taking any doula clients right now, but I have other doulas that I refer to, and network over to. Different people like that, just to see and making sure that, you do know the OBs that are out there, the ones that are helpful with, especially for our Black and brown women, that are giving birth. You want those that making sure that they're going to, advocate for them. If they don't have a doula or someone to advocate for them, you want to make sure that the doctor is going to be there listening to them. And that's why teaching childbirth classes, I love teaching that, because that's one of the things too. If they don't spend any money on anything else, at least the childbirth class, so they can understand what to look for and then when they start the childbirth class, I'm like, oh, I need to get this, I need to get that, because they see the difference. Like myself, when I had my children, I didn't know anything and I was just listening to the doctors. But I was, thankful that, and thank God that I had good doctors that took care of me, but they're not all the same. And there are some that push different agendas and just looking for different things, or just looking for the numbers, where you're just a number to them. You're not really that person. So it really makes a difference to have that team and, seeing different things that's going on with the woman. And like you said, everyone's pregnancy journey is different. So
now, can I ask you something? You said that with childbirth education, that it's good to pay for that. Have you noticed that women who get childbirth education classes through their insurance companies, or like the hospital system that they are going to deliver, where they're going to deliver, do they also pay for your services? Or is it people that stuff is not offered during this time because of COVID?
So that's funny, because like I said, I taught at a hospital for about 13 years. So with that, I've had clients that may have had a massage, and I mentioned the childbirth classes to them, and they're like, oh no, I'll get it through my hospital. Different things like that, because it's under the insurance. So they're going to take the hospital class under the insurance. Again, I've taught at the hospital for years. Okay. So my biggest thing was helping, and they had very high C-section rate. My biggest thing with teaching at that hospital is if I can make a difference in one couple, then I'm doing my job, because so many people used to tell me like, why are you working there? Why are you at that hospital? And I'm like, I'm there for a reason, because I was the only one that was not a nurse. My supervisor saw something in me and she told me to go get certified. So I was able to teach childbirth education. And again, like I said, I was the only one that was not a nurse. I was the only one that was, of color. So I'm like, there's a reason that I'm here. So I have to stay here. So I taught there, and it wasn't until COVID. So we taught like all day classes that may have been broken up, but say the full class was about 7.5 hours, and it was a Lamaze class. After COVID, in order for them, because, we had to reduce the numbers and the amount of people in the room. So in order for them to make their money, they also reduced the time of the class. So their 7.5 hour class went from 3.5 to 3.5 hours. So they wanted me to teach all this information in 3.5 hours. So that's when I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Like, how can I, my hands are tied. So then it's like, okay, I'm either going to get fired because I'm telling these people, don't come here, don't do it, or I'm going over on all my classes because, there's no way I can give you all this information that you need in 3.5 hours. So that's when I knew it was my time to step away. And then that's when I started increasing the classes that I teach. So during, the pandemic, when everything was, shut down, or I was fully virtual. So that was helpful. And that's when we were able to offer it all over the US, because prior to the pandemic, we were only in like wherever the instructor was, we were only in that area. So I was only able to teach about 50 miles in the Atlanta area, because it was 80% it was 80-20. It was a hybrid class. So you went into class and then you had some, and then after you went, after the last class was in person also. Once the shutdown happened, it became 100% virtual. And now I'm back to hybrid. So I teach that last class in person because I love hands-on. I love showing partners, if you have a doula, the doula is invited to the class also. So I teach me being a doula. I love giving information and telling them, and even with my birth stories and different things that I've done, trying at your home. So we actually have sort of like a labor rehearsal during that class. And I love that hands-on because it makes a difference when you're virtual and you're looking at and you're practicing. You're like, okay, but do I really have it? Is it really, are my hands placed the same, the right way, or what's going on? So I make sure, that they're comfortable and they notice. And then I'm timing them. They're like, oh gosh, I didn't think about this. Like, oh gosh, now I really feel like, okay, we need to change some things, because saying one thing is different than doing it and actually going through it. And they're like, oh, now I see. This is when you say a marathon. Now I see what you're talking about. Like, yes, labor can be a marathon.
Yes.
So it really makes a difference.
It does. Justin, did you have any questions for her? You did. I know you do.
I just love how detailed you are. It's amazing. It's a joy to hear that, you put your integrity and your love for others above everything else. And I think that's why you're so successful, and you will continue to be successful for as long as you want to work. Even though your kids are trying to retire you soon, we need you.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot, and it's, like I said, I try to do as much as I can, but to see, people coming in and just seeing to notice the difference. And then you guys, you haven't been pregnant, you haven't been my clients, I haven't touched you or anything like that, but just to see and hear that really, it really, I thank you so much, because that really means a lot to me.
You're welcome. So I want to do my one game before we close. And I'm springing this on you.
Yeah, because I wasn't prepared for this.
And then while you're doing this, be thinking about maybe some advice you'll give to a woman based on what you've seen in the labor and delivery room that you would give to a woman who is going to give birth, so that she can know what to kind of be on the lookout for when she's in the actual delivery room. That's where we notice the most gaps and the most fear of like speaking up for herself. But go ahead, Dr. Thompson, with this guy.
I love how you talked about for baby showers and gifts, what women should actually be receiving versus what they receive. So we're going to set a timer for a minute, and I want you to list out like all the like non-conventional things that women should be getting for baby shower gifts, and they're not. Okay. I'm setting my timer. Are you ready?
No, but okay, go ahead.
Okay, and so remember, like, this can be like services and stuff too. It doesn't have to be like products, like you said, that people get. Okay.
Did you start?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. So a childbirth class, a pelvic floor specialist, therapist, chiropractors that's certified, in Webster, a doula, let's see, a meal service for 3 months, 3 months meal service straight, because you want to make sure that they're not cooking. Oh my gosh, massage tools, massages, pregnancy and postpartum. So having several massages. So we put that in, several boxes there. Oh my gosh, lactation. That's important. Definitely need that lactation. Oh my goodness.
15 seconds.
Oh no, wait, there's more. There's so much more. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, I know I'm leaving some people out, but the care. A doula. Oh my gosh, how did I not think of the doula? A doula, postpartum and labor doula. Okay, that's important. Floor, doula, massage.
That's
Oh gosh.
That was good.
That was good.
Thank you. But I know I left some out, so I'm so upset right now. Because I know that, I mean, there's, like I said, there's so much, and you want to have a team, and so caveat to that, if whatever I left out, when you're going to see these people, ask them for a referral or a reference, recommendation, and they can give you to someone. Because I know I left some things out, but these people can kind of help you. Even going through the class, like I said, with the childbirth class itself, you learn so much. I love teaching the evidence-based birth classes that I teach now. So much different than the Lamaze one, because it kind of helps in teaching the partner. What happened? Oh, okay. It kind of helps teach the partner, for one, how to be a good support and how to advocate. So what if they don't have a doula, somebody to advocate for them? And during that time, some women are like, oh, I'll be able to say, no, you may not. No, you never know what going through. So you don't want to leave that up to you. You want to have somebody, and making sure that everybody's on the same team. And I have a lot of partners that are quiet. They kept to themselves. They don't want to speak. They don't know what to say. So during the class, it kind of helps them and teach them different things to say, just like icebreakers, making a conversation. Because these people, when you go into the hospital, the providers, the nurses, the staff that's in there, they're human. What if they had a bad day? They may be a good person and good at what they do, but they may have had a bad day. Something may have gone. They may have just had a loss and they don't have any time. Something is going on. Whatever, especially just coming out of pandemic, they were overworked. They may have just worked 5 days straight, without a break, or if they didn't, they would lose their job. So you don't know what's going on with them. So you want to make sure, again, you're coming in where you're not, attacking them, because a lot of them feel like they're being attacked also. So you want to make sure that you're not attacking them when you're coming in, but again, just having that conversation. And that's just better for everyone during there, so for mom, it makes a better outcome, for the partner and for the staff itself. It just makes a better outcome for everyone. So wait, I need to know what all the excitement was about when I mentioned that. So you got to tell me.
We will. So just go ahead and tell her, and then close us out. Let the people know how to find you. But go ahead, Dr. Thompson.
Catherine, that I am interested in becoming evidence-based childbirth instructor, taking like the Q&A thing in like a week or so. So I'll just be talking to you more about that.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, because I did see that they're opening up there for the instructor position. So they are opening up for more instructors. And yes, we definitely need, because it is so important. And I love it. Like I said, I was Lamaze, certified. I don't even teach Lamaze anymore because I love evidence-based birth. And this is where, and because it stays on top of, just like I know you mentioned research earlier, that stays on top of the research, different things. It's funny, like the workbooks I always tease. I'm like, wait, what page is in your workbook when I'm going over? Because they update it so much. I have to make sure we're still on the same page. But I mean, that's a good thing because they stay on top of it, not just put the information out and like, okay, we'll go teach. And, and someone is always there and being helpful. I can always reach out to them with no problem. So yes, I definitely recommend, encourage. And yes, if you have any questions, we can talk offline. But yes, absolutely. Any questions you have.
Thank you. Tell the people.
Welcome.
Because I know they're in love with you like we are. So.
Aw. Thank you. Yes. So I have a website. It's www.tarasbirthservices.com. Or you can reach me on Instagram. So it's funny, during the pandemic, like I was not on social media. My kids was like, oh, we're shut down. We're in the house. How do you reach people? So I was on Instagram. So most of my Instagram things are like, it's all about, childbirth education or, pregnancy, whatever it is. But I kind of do little things that I follow, trendy things and sounds and different things like that, and put it in some sort of childbirth education form, so whatever it is, it's going to talk about. So I have my little bump, my belly bump, my hospital gown, or sometimes I'm the doctor and the nurse and just different things like that. So with my Instagram page is at taradthompson.co. So it's taradthompson.co. on Instagram. You can follow me there and DM me if you have any questions. But again, you can reach me through my website also. And I'll be happy to help anyone. Again, like I said, even if you're not in the area, if I can refer or whatever I can do, I would definitely help.
Thank you so much. This episode has been such a blessing to us. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for what you do, not only for women, but for their families too, because we need everyone who's on the team to have the education and be able to help, because sometimes it is that birthing partner that says what needs to be said so that the mom avoids unnecessary issues, complications, and they're the ones that are at home with them. And while healthcare providers can come in and out of the home, their partners are there 24/7. So we need more people who are interested in training the people who are actually going to catch the issues. So thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you do and for spending this time with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. So nice to meet you, Dr. Thompson. And again, thank you so much. I love the work that you guys do as well. And as far as Operation Miss, I think that is just, oh my gosh, just amazing. And yes, so needed. So needed out there.
Thank you.